Hello?
What's going on?
Hey, what's up with you, fam?
Everything good. What's going on with you?
Doing good, man. Shit, I forgot I had your number on my phone. I've changed phones so many times, so sorry for the delay.
Nah, it's all good. You reminded me too, so it's cool.
All right, hold on. Let me hit the button. All right, first off, man, I'd like to thank you for doing this interview with StopBeefFromRadio.com.
Oh, yeah, man, I appreciate it. Stop beefing. It's family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And to get started, can you tell the fans who you are and where you're from?
What up, man? It's your boy Quincy Big Heff Taylor, residing in Cleveland, Ohio, but from Chicago, Illinois.
Okay. And how did you get started in the music industry, and what made you decide you wanted to pursue it as your career?
How did I get started? Wow, it was so long ago, but I always had a passion for music as a little kid. I always wanted to be in the entertainment industry, and I was just trying to figure out my way how to. And, started off working with a group, ended up putting out a first executive producing a project, built a lot of relationships for putting out that project. And then I got a call from Lansby Records, and they wanted some help. I guess word had traveled that, I did a good job on promoting the project. So asked me to start promoting projects and stuff for them. So that led into me, that company ended up putting out like the first 50 Cent project. I had always stopped working with DJs, and my first DJs that I worked with was DJ Who Kid, DJ G Spot, and Mick Boogie. And those DJs always, they went on to do a lot of great things, and just being there at the start of their career kind of gave me a blueprint of what I wanted to do as far as introducing new artists, introducing new DJs to the world, and there you have it.
Damn, okay. So you said you worked with 50 on his first project?
Lansby Records, crazy enough, like working with DJ Who Kid, he would always introduce me to music from 50 Cent.
Right.
And I had another homie named Jay that was from Queens as well, and he would always big up 50 Cent as well.
Okay.
And selling mixtapes and doing all the promo stuff for Who Kid, it gave me an early advantage on who this guy was. And then as Lansby put out the first 50 Cent project, I already knew the retailers and had built relationships with them. So I know when, where, and how to sell the merch, the product. So, and it took on from there. So that was his first official project. Ended up going gold. He signed with Shady Records and put out the first, Get Rich or Die project, and the rest is history. Now he's on Power. So just seeing people, but we put out the first project, and, Lansby Records was, they had a lot of creative young artists. So it kind of reminds me of what like an empire is today.
Okay. So are we going to see you on Power someday coming up soon and back in the alley or something like that? Have a cameo?
No. Like, I've been on set a couple of times, but I am working on my own TV show called The Platform.
Yes, congratulations on that. I saw the coverage on Facebook and Instagram. You just had your viewing of it?
Yeah, I did a screening, like a soft screening, so I can, kind of work out the bugs before it's presented in a bigger platform. But, I always call my tours like artist awareness tours, but this is like I follow 5 artists that I've been watching over the last 6 to 8 months, and then watching how their career develops and some of the stuff that I help them with, and just watching how their career develops in the path they go on.
So it's more of a behind-the-scene look at your your role behind the artist, or is it more focused on the artist and your?
It's really focused on the artist and then my role in helping the artist. So it's kind of like a docu-series where it talks about the trials and tribulations of artists and either how they go on to the next level or they fail.
It's interesting because you get to see it from a street's view, kind of where you're seeing them on the way up. And then you see them when they get their first little bit of success, and then you see them after that. Like, what is it about artists, in your opinion, that makes them keep going when they get to that first level? like you've been able to watch a lot of them. What made one succeed versus the ones that failed, you think?
It really, a lot of times it's just doing everything possible to win.
Okay.
And it's really simple. It's some do win, some don't. The ones that do everything possible are the ones that usually go on to the next level, next phase of their career, and open themselves up for more opportunities.
Right. Now, for the fans who aren't too familiar with you or not as versed in your history as I am, what's some of the artists, you already mentioned 50 Cent, but what's some of the artists you've had the privilege of working with early on in their career and still work with today?
I kind of go in like phases. So, like I said earlier on, it was the Shady Records era. So seeing like a 50 Cent, a Obi Trice, a D12 early on in their career. And then you have, Jim Jones, DJ Unk, just, at the beginning of his career, and then going on to like his biggest single being Ballin', and then to the reality TV show era that he's been in. And then recently, like Machine Gun Kelly, being there at the beginning of his career, like a Ray Jr., being there at the beginning of his career. And then recently it's been like T Grizzly, Hardo, TK Kravitz. It's been a lot. So just Famous Dex, so it's just seeing a lot of Vince Staples, Vic Mensa, like just seeing a lot of artists at the beginning of their careers, and then, watching them go on to the next phase of their career, like the second phase or the third phase, if you would say. And then, somebody like MGK, who's been around for 8 years now, and he's going on to his fourth album. So just watching and just observing, and anytime that I can help, do my part in helping,
Yep.
you know.
Now, not only with that, but you actually are a staple for the Cleveland hip-hop community, between the Ohio Hip Hop Awards to the Nerve DJs. Like, you've done a lot for that market, and, like, when you mentioned MGK, it made me remember the time I was out to the Nerve DJs for an event, and I was taking interviews with a whole bunch of people, and he walked by, but I didn't know who he was yet. And it kind of taught me in this game, like, you never know who it is, so always be very vocal about it. But speaking on that, like, you've got the Nerve DJs event coming up soon. Can you tell the fans what to look out for, and who's some of the people that's going to be in attendance for this year's anniversary?
November 29th, Cleveland, Ohio, or November 28th through the 30th. It's going to kick off with my Big Heff A&R Showdown, Welcome to Cleveland party. Also, we have a music conference, the Midwest Connect Music Conference. We also have a sound stage that's going to go with that as far as new artists performing. And then on Sunday, we do a Nerve DJs brunch, and it's also an R&B event that's tied in with it. So, check out some new vibes from, I feel like a lot of R&B gets overpassed nowadays. So
right.
I like to see that, that it gets the eyes that, that might pass. I think like Khalid and, ATR and all the new R&B acts that's coming out, like just providing that soft voice, that melody, it's starting to come back and it's starting to flourish again. So, but key people, I'm still locking people in, and me and Johnny are still locking people in, but Bigger Rankin is already confirmed to be a keynote speaker.
Okay.
We have people from Cinematic Music who do like Smoke DZA, Joey Badass. They'll be in attendance. We have people from B&B. We have a lot of people from Def Jam, a lot of people from 300. Like, this is going to be a good industry event. Like, I'm real big on just providing the information and providing the platforms. I have TV show producers from season 1, season 2 of the 4 that's coming in. So it's just going to be a lot of opportunity. Previously, before we had Sway, I have Torre is coming in from Hip Hop Nation this year. So it's just, a lot of good people that's coming in that can help a lot of careers or provide a lot of careers, not just as an artist, but also singing, if you're into dancing, if you're into, producing your own TV shows, etc., we're going to have people from the whole facet of entertainment industry that'll come in and be a part.
That's incredible, man. And not only are you going to have all those heavy hitters and stars and VIP, so to speak, but you're going to have the nerd DJs. And nerd DJs is one of the hardest working DJ coalitions in the world, and they break records for real. Like, they've been behind a lot of records. So for the people listening, how did you and Johnny O come up with the nerd DJs, and then what is the nerd DJs on a broader scale?
You know what? The Nerve DJs was around before me, so they've been around and celebrating our 15-year anniversary. But I think it was right around the time of my first tour that, I seen what they were doing, and I approached Johnny O and said, hey, what do you think about a partnership that we can, I've been asked to be a part of a lot of DJ coalitions and DJ crews before, but I wanted to have something that would be staple in the Midwest to help support our Midwest artists and help us develop our Midwest artists, that we continue to grow and we continue to flourish. So look at like the careers of like a Doughboys Cash Out or Icewear Vezo or Big Sean, whoever it might be, we're very good. And, we're good in Cleveland, but we're also good in Pittsburgh, Detroit, Chicago, Indianapolis, St. Louis as well. So, Milwaukee. So I've definitely, at the end of the day, we help build a support system for the artists that music can stay relevant, over a course of time.
And you give a lot of artists opportunities to get their song heard first on the conference call you do weekly. You take on major artists from your relationships with Def Jam and all the other labels you work with, and then you've got your Cleveland artists, so you give them back to your community, and then you open up the door to up-and-coming artists. So I'm a big fan of the conference call, and I know a lot of DJs that have listened have expressed how they get a part of Nerve DJs. What is the process for someone to get involved or to link up with the Nerve DJs?
You know what? Just all they got to do is sign up for an account on nervedjmixtapes.com, and just send an email. Just send an email. Just let us know what you're doing, what direction you're going into. We also have Nerve DJs Radio. We have our conference call, and then we also do specialty events. So whether it's at South by Southwest, whether it's at A3C, or at our anniversary thing, BET Weekend. So we just try to provide a platform for, not only national artists, but, next up-and-coming regional artists or indie artists to flourish as well, because I've seen artists last year, even having Lil Baby on a tour that me and Bigger Rankin did, and look at his career a year later, and what I'm saying, he's at the top of his game. So he's one of the biggest artists, new artists in the industry right now. So just having Nerve DJ mixers. So far this year, we had Queen Key and Famous Dex and so many other artists that have come through the platform, and we're just trying to make it keep going and just making sure these artists are knowing how important the DJ is to their career.
That's dope. And tonight you're in Grand Rapids, right, Michigan, for the Streets Most Wanted tour?
Streets Most Wanted tour tonight, Grand Rapids, Michigan. We're in the Orbit Room. And every quarter I do a tour, and the next tour kicks off actually September 12th, okay. But I had to put the dates back because I have to do some tours, it's crazy. Like I said, everything moving full circle. A year later, that Lil Baby is headlining his first tour, and we have a new artist on Def Jam, YK Osiris, that's on the tour, so I have to go out on the road with him.
Oh no, you have to go out on tour.
No, but the funny thing about it is, like I said, last year nobody knew who Lil Baby was, and the same thing you say, you never know who's gonna be that guy. He was on tour, and me and Bigger Rankin were introducing him to the Midwest. Yeah. Now, a year later, he's headlining his own tour, and I have to go out on tour with him. You feel me? So it's kind of funny, but that's the way the music industry works.
And, I mean, with you and Bigger Rankin tag teaming the way you did for Lil Baby, it only makes sense because Bigger Rankin is the biggest record breaker, record mover and shaker of the South, you're the biggest mover, record breaker of the Midwest. So you combine the two. I mean, he was destined to have a good run, I think.
Yeah,
And he
you
also
know,
had a buzz too. So he had a buzz. So it kind of like add those two forces, or all those forces together, and it became what he is now.
yeah, and it's really good. Like I said, me and Big Homie, we work really well together. We both have the same vision, same passion between just pushing artists to the next level. And you know, it's gonna be good, man. So I think we're gonna have Q Money at the Nerve DJs weekend.
Okay.
So many others. Like we're gonna have a lot of surprise guests. So I think Flip De Niro, which is young Sav artist. He has a hit record called "Leave Me Alone," which just seemed like Kim Kardashian and Travis Scott dancing to it at Nicki Minaj's release party. So it's just a lot of good stuff, a lot of good vibes, and the conference, you know, like I said, just bringing on the information. So looking at having one of the bigger guys from YouTube come in, looking at having a lot of the head guys from Urban Radio, which is Radio 1, come in and just speak on the panel on how artists can get their stuff played at radio, how they can get it programmed at YouTube, which is one of the biggest platforms on streaming. And then, you know, just developing artists out. So, you know, I think people have to get along with this new wave of how the music industry is going,
Right.
and, you know, and how new artists are being broke.
I mean, to tag team off that, like I recently started doing stuff with the Stop Beef from Radio Instagram page, because as a person on the digital scale, I'm realizing people don't want websites no more. They just want to go to their Instagram and find their new records and new videos. So you're right. You have to always be advancing, always, you know, changing as the tide comes.
Definitely. You know, and the crazy, like I said, the crazy thing about it is just there's there's Instagram promotions, there's social media promotions, and then, you know, like the websites are definitely good, but most people go to an app or just transferable through the phone now for mobile devices. So, you know, just mobile technology, and, you know, so I'm really big on the tech stuff too. So, you know, it's really good.
How's the labels? Like I said, your Def Jam affiliate and a few other labels. How are they reacting to this new posting the music on Instagram by random people? Like, are they open to it, or are they trying to stop it?
No, I think they're open to it. It's just, you know, them catching up, and I think Instagram just catching up with the sign of times instead of them being trying to be. I guess you would say they're trying to channel their energy, and you know, they have to let it go and let the kids make it a fun tool for people to check out and people to look at and so forth. So,
because if you really think about it, you know, Def Jam used to have DJs play their song, you know, record playing their song in the club, and that's how they would tell if a record was hot or not. They could start campaigns, hashtag Def Jam, when anybody's playing their song. Like, there's openings to it if there'd be an open, you know, willing to it.
yeah, and it's just all about licensing. You know, like now that they made the videos over, you know, a minute long, that's where it becomes, you know, I think it comes a point where now you have to pay for licensing rights if you want to use that out and so forth.
Oh, okay. But like from you, you've been around, you know, in the industry for a while. Like you said, like, what's the biggest? What have you learned throughout these years that is affording you now for these new times? Like, you have all the real game of what it took to break records. What are you taking to the new digital atmosphere?
Just increasing personal relationships and making it personal for either a DJ or for a certain different market, and filling out, like, now you know which type of music, or I know which type of music that'll work in any particular market. And, you know, outside of the Def Jam stuff or outside of the 300 stuff, like just knowing what goes on nationally. So knowing which artists can fit in which certain pockets, and, you know, just knowing the demos of each artist, and kind of like the temperature and how to gauge a lot of more things. So, you know, it's not just, you know, at first it was just about dealing with my market or just dealing with my region. Now just looking at the overall vision of how we want to present that artist to make them successful. So if it's R&B, then, you know, we might integrate some kind of viral campaigns, whether it be on, like, musically, or maybe it might be Triller or something like that, but also, the traditional radio campaigns, the video program list, and the streaming campaigns that is going where that young wave is following that, and then, you always partner with either some kind of merchandise or either some kind of touring package or something like that to make them artist effective.
Now, if an artist or a DJ wanted to approach you to ask you to listen to their new hit single that's buzzing all over the place, what's the proper way to do that for you? As you're at all these conferences, how would you appreciate that interaction?
I always like people to send music to my email just so I don't lose it. It's there. Some people text it to me, some people DM it to me, but the best way for me to listen to music is either phone or I listen to it through the email, through the headphone. So, and it's just really just, a good introduction of who they are, what are they doing, where they're from. A lot of people just think that it's, just saying if I'm in Indianapolis that I live in Indianapolis. Like I've had that a lot of times when I come to the city. Or if I'm in Chicago, or if I'm in Cleveland, or if I'm in Detroit, and they'll be like, "Hey, I want to know where a little bit about the artist, so I can know what their story is." Like at the end of the day, now we're selling stories, and we're not selling just music. So we have to know a little bit about the artist and what they're doing, and then how we can make that, that go to the next level.
Right, and so like now you're doing the David Ford sunglasses, like you're stepping outside of the music arena a little bit and taking on this merchandise. And I've not seen you do that many times. What made you pick David Ford to be the ones you would try and use a merchandise campaign behind?
You know what? I just start opening myself up to a lot of different opportunities. I used to just shut them all down. So whether it being doing a partnership with Midwest Connect, whether doing a David Ford partnership, but David Ford is unique brand. It has its own identity, and with the marriage between music and television has been going on for a while now, and it's an influencer type thing. So if we can get this eyewear on Love and Hip Hop, which has 8 million viewers every Monday, then let's try to get that, and we can work out a percentage on, on the back end and so forth. So, but it's a different brand. But me and Dave already had a personal relationship before, and So as he started to create the eyewear, and it just made sense. It made sense. Like most rappers wear sunglasses, and most artists, most actors, most actresses, they wear sunglasses. Anybody that has a high-end vehicle usually wears sunglasses because they're, I don't know if it's a cool factor or whatever it is, but usually they wear sunglasses. So it made sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, I wanted to personally thank you, man, because you've always been a huge supporter of Stop Beefing Radio, from teaching me these interviews to Midwest Connects with St. James and the videos, and then now you're helping it with Gringo, man. So I just want to take a time out of this just to thank you personally for that, because you've always been a great supporter.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. Like I said, it's family. When I started to make my transition in the music industry and taking on more of an executive role, it was, I think I was probably a little bit ahead of my time, because I wanted to have veteran artists do online interviews and so forth. And now it just kind of seems cliche, but, before that wasn't possible. Like no big artists or no big name artists would even do it. They were just doing traditional radio. So, and I think like with the podcast becoming so big and with the streaming becoming so big, it was kind of like a little bit ahead of its time as providing its own content.
Yeah, I always laugh because everybody's talking about podcast this, podcast that. But like we were doing podcasts 10 years ago, and we decided to leave the podcast to become a website. So it's like sometimes when you're ahead of the curve, it's it's slight maybe, but no, we appreciate that. And then with Gringo, man, like right now we got the hit song Risk. How has that situation been for you? And what's the environment been like with the advice you're giving to them for moving along with this project?
It's great, man. Just like I said, just working with somebody from a town that's not really known for music, that's more sports orientated, and it kind of reminds me of a Cleveland or like a Phoenix, or like a Charlotte, where they're waiting for that breakout artist and so forth. So just watching somebody groom from the beginning, and a lot of a lot of times, a lot of people go on what they see and they presume assume as a success, but they don't understand the work ethic that it takes to get there or the steps it takes to get there to build out an artist so they are successful. You know what I'm saying? So they do have fans, or they do have opportunities that's bigger than, like there's some people bigger than music. I watch Jay-Z and Beyonce sell out a football arena, so that's bigger than music, like that. That's just crazy. So if you're seeing like LeBron James do movies and television shows, and he's executive producing a lot of stuff now where he's almost bigger than sports. So it's just crazy. So just seeing like a lot of peers, a lot of friends grow up, and then you want to help like the next generation. Like I'm really big on the next wave. So if you see me with a YB in the Mirror or YB in Corday or a Juice World or even like a famous deck, like even though they call them veteran MCs or veteran artists now, but like Kid Grizzly just put out his first album this year. You know what I'm saying? Even though he was around, he just got on the scene last year, but he's considered a veteran now. You know what I'm saying?
Attention span is so short.
So, it's just like that. So, just taking somebody like a YK Osiris and, just developing him or helping out with his campaign and just making sure that, like this guy can definitely reach the potential of being the next one up.
Yeah, I wanted to compliment you, man, because I know you keep your eyes to the new wave. So when I saw you promoting YB and Cordone and Juice World, man, I was like, yeah, you understand, because that's the next future. Like my son's been telling me all about them, man. So that's a great movement. And what are you seeing in them? Besides to separate them from all the other younger cats you must have come across.
You know what? It's just the just understanding. Just like a lot of times, just them young guys just understanding what it's going to take for them to be around a year from now or 2 years from now. And being humble enough to know, like, hey, this doesn't last forever because, whether you're 18, 16, 20, the other prior years was full of struggle and full of pain. So remember to tell your story. Remember to treat people, as you would want to be treated, or you would want like your family to be treated. And, like you literally got to outwork everybody. So just even like talking to like Q Money, who's a new signee, also I think it's a game, okay. And the brothers, like we gotta set the standard. We have to set the standard. You know what I'm saying? So, and I pass the knowledge that my mentors pass on to me to them. And if they get it early, then they can have a 10-year career, or they can have a 15-year career, or somebody like, I think this year is like Wu-Tang and Bone Thugs Harmony 25-year anniversary. You know what I'm saying? Snoop Dogg, they all came in at the same time. So now it's like, wow, those new artists from back then are now the veteran MCs. So, and I always reach out to like veteran artists and ask them to give words of wisdom to some of the newer artists. You know what I'm saying? And kind of bridge that gap. So a lot of times stuff can spiral out of control real fast. There's a lot of money. They didn't take no financial aid classes. They haven't got no financial advisor. They haven't done none of that stuff. So, hey, can you give some words, because you know how to move and they don't know how to move yet.
Definitely. Now, I know you're busy, so we're going to wrap this up. But the last question is, do you have any advice for artists or DJs or anybody who wants to get into this music industry as to how to be in it and be successful at it?
Advice would be always to look and pick and build your team that has your best interest at heart. To really kind of study what you want to do, past, present, and then the direction that you want to go in the future as far as building your brand, and just be really passionate about it. Like, you have to have that heart and that passion that's going to be involved in it to make it make you become successful. And picking your team, like you have to literally pick your team that you think that can take you and open up a lot of opportunities for you and develop you. And just, and if you're an artist, the same thing applies. The same thing applies for a DJ. And then just really work on your craft, because if you're talented, that's one part, and then marrying that with the business part is going to be like the perfect thing. So I always look at like Jay-Z like that way, like, yo, this guy's great artist, but then you see his portfolio on business, whether it be sports management, television, streaming, label, clothing. It just, he did the perfect entertainment portfolio with it.
Yeah, he kept building on to where he was not a destructible based on a song. His empire was there.
Correct. Like it's just amazing just to watch, like some of the veteran artists, like even like a Fat Joe, a 50 Cent, just people that are now over 10-year veterans or 15-year veterans in the music or the entertainment game become, where the music is just a component in what they're doing.
They started understanding they were more a brand than an artist. Like they could be an artist with a hit song, but once they popped off, they became their name, and their name was synonymous with them. So there's more opportunities. Yeah.
So, I love it. When you're talking about me growing and developing into more of a brand, like now the name Big Heff is more of a brand than it is. So, first thing that pops in is Def Jam, but, I look at all the signings and things that I've done since then. It's crazy. And I've only been at that company 4 years. So now, or 5 years. So now, over the last year, it's been developing a relationship with Rock Nation, developing a relationship with 300, and then also signing acts and developing acts on my own as well. So, and I think that the touring part, the Nerve DJs, it all works. So now I'm branching off into television, into film, into clothes and merchandise and so forth. So, it's just, I'm a work in progress. And then, I like to, give a shout out to Johnny O. I like to give a shout out to Bigger Rankin. And then my mentors, Mike Moves, D-Train, D-Sonoram, Shadow, and just, allowing me to grow and develop as a person in the music industry and becoming an executive of my own.
Have you ever thought about taking a page out of like Gary Vee and have somebody follow you with a camera when you do all these different industry events? Because there's nobody on Instagram who's actually behind the scenes as much as you. Like you actually see these ins and outs of what the game is. So you could have a very successful, type of situation where you're releasing behind the scenes stuff. And I'm telling you the same thing I told Q when I was dealing with Warstar Hip Hop.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be like kind of sacred, Mm-hmm. But that's kind of like what the TV show is a little bit of about. It's about creating a platform for these new artists, watching the trials and tribulations, because some of them, they think that they know what's best for their career. Yeah. They don't, and then sometimes their personal ego gets in the way of their work.
How often does it happen where you get an artist that comes in, gets that deal, and then they realize they just started over, or they have to work? Like, some artists think the deal was the end. They're like, no, that's you begin. Like, if you get blessed to have a deal, now you got to go to work. Like,
yeah, some of them do. The ones that are successful really do. But some of the people that don't, that think that the label is supposed to do everything for them, then those are the people that usually fail.
Definitely. Now, what's your social media information? So if DJs and people want to follow you, and what's your email so if artists or DJs want to link up with you?
So, one, check me out every week on the Big Heff Radio Show, 23 different markets. It's really an industry tastemaker. It's involvement, it's energy, it's interviews, it's TMZ, it's everything all in one, with new music and new vibes. social media wise, follow me on Twitter, BIGHEFF. On Instagram, if you'd like to see it in a picture or video format, it's Big Heff Midwest Fresh. I really believe in the Midwest and what we're doing. And you can see the work that's coming from it. And then, follow me at Nerve DJs, at Nerve DJs Radio, at Nerve DJs Mixtapes. It's just, it's growing.
Right.
And we love your support.
Definitely. And congratulations on the Shy Glizzy record. I saw that it's the most added urban record right now.
Yep, man. Like I said, we're all over the country with everything right now. So, Shy Glizzy is definitely growing. I feel like he has a new energy behind him coming off the Gold Link record, and it's definitely growing across the country. So from LA all the way to Miami, it's really growing. And, he's a DC artist. And I think, he's on the verge of doing something crazy for himself.
Definitely. Well, once again, man, thanks for the opportunity to interview you. As soon as this is posted, I'll send you everything, and we'll keep building, man.
Appreciate you, man.
All right. You have a good day.
You too.
Peace.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.